All right, welcome to the 13th episode of So What Do You Know About Business? My name is Andrea Trevelyan. I am filling in for Erin this week, who is off learning some amazing stuff she's going to share next week. I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for who has been listening and leaving us ratings and reviews over on iTunes. If you haven't done that yet, we would greatly appreciate any help we could get. Give us a rating, leave a little note, tell your friends, so that everybody can come join us. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it today, and we're going to go around the rooms, introduce yourself, say what you're drinking, and we'll go from there. So we're going to start with Megan this week.
Hi everyone, it's Megan from meganflat.com, and I work with busy mom entrepreneurs who want to build and grow their dream businesses. And I am finishing off my coffee and finishing off water. I didn't restock either of my drinks for today.
Excellent. Next up, Jules.
Hey guys, I'm Jules Taggart, and you can find me at julestaggart.com. I'm a human-centered content strategist, and I believe that people buy from people, not brands. And I work with service-based entrepreneurs. And what am I drinking? It's a combination, it's like the jankiest thing ever, but it's a combination of white wine and sparkling water. So it's like my own spritzer.
I do that all the time. So it's not janky.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go with Chandra next.
Hey y'all, I am coming to you. I'm Chandra Achberger, coming to you from Fort Lauderdale for a family reunion slash nonprofit event that I'm putting on at the beach on Saturday. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. You can find me at Chandra Inc. and Chandra A Inc. all over the web now. And I am drinking red wine for the first time since January 1st. So off the wagon because I am going to be with family and friends that I haven't seen in a very long time. So cheers.
So you're saying you need the cocktail?
Yeah, no, they're actually pretty chill. I'm just saying that, like, before I'm probably doing cake stands on Saturday, I should probably get some booze in my system.
It's all about the training.
I'm a very serious entrepreneur.
All right, Taylor.
Hello, I am Taylor Stevens, freelance writer, marketer, actress, and dancer. Today, I just realized I have nothing to drink right now, and I am parched. And I am currently turned off by alcohol at the moment because alcohol makes you do dumb things. But yeah, catch me on Twitter at TaylorJoy315.
What type of dumb things?
We're not going to get into that today.
Is that for the after
Is this going to be your lesson?
So.
Is this going to be your lesson learned for the week?
For life. It's gonna, no. I'm not going to share this lesson, but definitely one I will not have to relearn. Just put it that way.
All right, and I am Andrea Trevelyan from TakeASmartStep.com. I help small business owners with their business and personal finances, and I am drinking vodka and lemonade this week. So, there we go. Now we're going to do the fun stuff and get into what we've learned this week. We'll go in the same order. So, Megan, what did you learn?
All right, so I'm going to try to cram 2 lessons learned into my time. First is just kind of a comment overview. We had the MLK school holiday over the weekend, and we took, my husband and I took our kids, who are 3 and 6. We live in California, Northern California. We went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is just a fantastic aquarium. They do a ton of conservation work, research, as well as just being a great place to go. And I was just really struck. I just really spent, in addition to spending some fun time with my family, I really spent my time there looking through kind of my business lens and just how well they do customer service, the customer experience, and was just repeatedly impressed, whether it was just we asked for directions and the person was, you know, really engaged, stopped, helped us, even though we were probably 10 steps from where we needed to be, and the person probably could have been like, hey, idiots, right under the sign right next to me. She, you know, she was great. And then what really struck me is they have these little, what I didn't realize, I thought it was going to be a little movie, but it's kind of a live presentation, and they're 15 minutes long, and one was about sharks, one was about sea otters. We went to see a couple of them, and they turned out to be live presentations. So they were actual, it was a movie or kind of a slideshow, and with someone live narrating it through. And basically, it dawned on me a few minutes into it, is basically it was a TED Talk. Like, basically it was a TED Talk about sharks, or a TED Talk about, and I was just completely enamored with how well they were able to captivate my 3-year-old daughter and myself, and it was just a good reminder. I was sitting there going, I want to do these. I want to do these in my business. I'm going to do these 15-minute, you know, presentations in my business. So I just think it's so fun, especially for us online entrepreneurs. It was just a good reminder to get out from behind the computer. I know we've talked about this before, but get out from behind the computer and see some examples of business outside of our businesses, and how other people, you know, we always talk about Apple, or we talk about, you know, how different businesses do business, but that was a really, because it's a very, and you know, an aquarium is a very customer focused business, and so it was really, really great. So I guess that's what I learned, is just kind of that, taking that time, putting on that business lens in some of your daily life, and what takeaways can we bring back to our own businesses.
So you said the takeaway for the TED type talk was that you're going to go out and do more TED type talks. What was the biggest thing you took away from the customer service aspect?
You know, I just think they do such a nice job. They just really think about their customer and what their customer needs and wants. And a quick example would be for the sea otter feeding. So first of all, they have, it's like 3/4 of a tank that's all glass, and you're kind of eye level, so you can see underwater, but you can easily see above water. But then they have video screens set up so that you can get all these, if you're too far back and you can't actually see, you can see these video screens, but also so you can get different angles. You could see kind of top down what the sea otters were doing, and then they've got someone who's narrating, like explaining to you what's happening during the feeding. And I just felt like everything, there was such attention to detail and such attention to the customer's experience. And that was just a really great reminder for me too.
Excellent. I like to pay attention to what's going on customer service-wise at fine dining restaurants. Because
yeah, hotels.
Yeah, like you ask, where's the bathroom, and they walk you there.
Yeah.
You get disappointed, but yeah, it's amazing the lessons you can learn from other businesses.
Yeah, especially like my day job containing a lot of customer service for what I do. It is interesting to me. Like, I look through that lens too, always. Like, how are you guys doing it? And if, like, what makes your store or restaurant stick out? Like, what are you doing differently? So it's always really cool to like look through those lenses and how you can apply that to your business.
And I think I totally think the live part, which is basically thank you. I now know my lesson for the week. I love not going first because it totally changes all the time, especially since I'm at a live event. You know, this weekend that I put together, and it's just so important, and it's so easy to forget because we feel like we're so connected all the time because we see each other, like we see each other right now, but it's so important for us we learn so much more when someone is in front, when there's a human being looking at you, right? And I mean, and we learn this from when it's just like part of everything that we are. When a 3-year-old is captivated by attention, hopefully a 40-year-old ADD person can also be captivated by it, not be okay, what's going on here? I just got pinged. I just got, all the stuff that's going on, and it's just like, focus. And as much bashing as I did last week for a lot of events, and I kind of want to backtrack a little bit on that and just say, that is an important, really important part about going to conferences and places where you're getting a lot out of it, but it's just like that face-to-face on every level as an entrepreneur, like being face-to-face with people is just super, super important.
Well, and there's that connection piece with the people that are experiencing it, whether it's your 6-year-old or whether it's, someone else, a stranger in the audience, and again, back to the live piece, we talked about this a little bit last week or the week before, but that was something about going to WDS that I felt like I was part of a collective experience of people all kind of doing the same thing at the same time. And I got that from the aquarium visit. They have it very well laid out so that you're having this collective experience with strangers, as well as a really, we were gone for just over 24 hours, and we had this, like, my 6-year-old is like, this was the best vacation ever, because I think we got to have this, like, collective experience. So yeah, it was great.
Excellent. Well, let's move on. Jules, you're next. What did you learn this week?
I love everything you guys just said. I was trying to keep myself muted because I've got dogs that are kind of being a pain, but just to build on what you guys were saying about just the experience, I'm reading Scott Stratton's book on selling right now, and I think I was reading this last time I was talking to you guys, so still reading it kind of slowly, but one of the things he said in there was that to be awesome at business, you really only need to be mediocre, because there are so few people who do what they say they're going to do and who really fulfill not only the obligations but the promises that they make. I think we make really big promises on our websites and other things. There's two sides to it: people who make big promises and don't fulfill them, or people who don't make big enough promises and they don't talk about how great they are. And there's that side of it too. But I love that. And I just started working out of a co-working space. And I'm at home today, but normally working out of a co-working space. And it's been so interesting to hear, because I've been working from home for 3 years. So it's interesting to hear all these people talking, and they're on their calls, and they're talking to their clients, and some of them are hiring people and whatever, like all of these people talking and what they're looking for and the things that they value. And then when they get off the call, what they say to the person like that sits next to them or whatever about that person. And so often just listening is something that people seem to mention. They weren't really listening to me, or they weren't really engaged, or that kind of thing. So I think the biggest takeaway for me this week is that listening in your business is one of the most important things that you can do, especially with your customers. We're changing banks right now from a credit union to Wells Fargo, and the credit union we're leaving, and we've closed every account now. Business accounts, personal accounts, everything. And they are still sending me things to like get an auto loan. And I'm like, really? You're not paying attention to the fact that I'm leaving every single thing behind and I'm not happy with the service? So they're not listening, which is apparent. But it's interesting to see who's listening to you and who's not. So I guess that's my big takeaway.
I love that, and I am a total talker. If you've been listening to the show, you know that I'm a talker. And I think also as service providers, we want to provide value to our clients. And I realized this when the software that I use, Uber Conference, when I do my client calls, it records your call, and then at the end it gives you a breakdown of who talked for how long. And I was appalled. Because I would do these 60-minute calls with my clients, and they talked for 9 minutes, and I talked for 51. And I think my mindset is like, I just want to give them my brain. I want to tell them everything I know. I want to provide them so much value. And Jules, you're so right. Like, so much of what customer service is, even when you are teaching someone or coaching someone or providing value, is also listening to what they're saying, and not just like, here's everything I know thrown at you. And so that was a real eye-opener for me. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I talked. Even if it had been 60-40, I think I would have been okay with it. But I basically talked through the whole conversation.
I feel like listening is 90% of your success. And it applies not only in business, but it made me think of like in acting. If I'm not listening to the other person and how they're saying it and what their perception is and what they really mean, and listening to the emotion in their voice, I'm not going to perform as well as that scene should be performed if I'm not listening to that other person. Yeah, I just think it's a very, very crucial part, and you can read someone's perception through listening to them in terms of like, you know, like their intonation and stuff like that, and they may be saying like, you know, I really wasn't happy with the service today, but in the way in which they say it could, you know, be like an emotional trigger you could pick up on too, just like, I wasn't happy with it today. And it could mean so many things, but if you're not listening and trying to get down to like the bit, you're never going to solve the problem.
I recently read something about improv, so like comedy improv, and how the lessons that they teach, you know, how to do improv are really good lessons for how to sell, because there is so much listening. And you're right, it's not just listening, it's like listening and then playing off of whatever they just said, and then letting them talk again and listening, actively listening and playing off that. And you know, that's how you get closer to whatever their goal is. So interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I love that. I think listening is just part of it's just life, right? And listening and tone. And I always joke around that I'm going to be teaching Abby tone until she's 35. But like I will talk to my mom and I'll be like, oh, tone, Chandra, tone, right? Like, and it's the same when I'm looking at movies or anything. And it's the same when someone's coming to you. Like, yeah, when mentoring or doing anything, it's just like the tone is so important. And then another huge tip is I love that you mentioned the improv, Jules, because I've signed up for like these like $15 classes that they have in Austin, and most cities have them. And even if you don't, like huge people to learn how to communicate and how to listen better are comedians, because they have to play off of the audience, right? And so like when you're talking sales and business and all that, like take an improv class, and they're offered all over the place, and they're really cheap or free in your communities because, you know, because people still believe in starving artists, and starving artists believe in starving artists. So you can really, it would help your business out like a ton, and just life in general. Like listen is so important. I love it.
Well, I have nothing to add because I was listening. No. All right. I do think that is highly, highly important. And now we are all going to listen to what Chandra learned this week.
So all together, I have a nonprofit. It's called liferaf.org, and it's in memory of my brother who passed away 10 years ago. And he was pretty, he brought a lot of people from all over the world together. It was just kind of who he was, and our family does that. And we've done numerous golf tournaments, and we've done Rapapalooza is what I call it, from basically, if anybody has seen Old School, I hope everybody in the audience has seen Old School because I quote it like nonstop. My kids will cry if I say, Abby, you're better than that, right? Like, we're just like come on. Basically what I learned, my little sister, who's 8 years younger than me, lives in Florida, and a couple months ago she was like, we're doing Rapapalooza. His 42nd birthday just passed, and we're like, we don't have enough time, we can't do this, and people are coming in from all over the place with a couple months notice, and like it just needed to be done because we took off a year. It was just very highly emotional and whatever, but it's just like people need to get together. And I've raised, you know, just not even really trying. The foundation has raised like $2,000, published a book. I got the book published, which I've been dragging my feet on to do hardcover for a long time. There's a children's book in his name, which is very lovely. It was done awesomely, but like, it's just like push forward, get through it, do live events, like all this stuff. Like listen to yourself and what people need, because people need to get together to heal and and do stuff. So like business-wise, I guess business-wise, like live events. I'm very big on live events, just like small and personal, where people can get together and really take away a lot from it. And I know that's hard to do, but like I think you should like at least schedule one a year. And then I guess something I've learned also, like from publishing the children's book, was even if people want to help you, they don't know, right? Like I asked for like a week straight. It felt like I kept on asking for reviews, and I know people want to help sell more books, but they just don't know, right? Like that audience, the audience that's buying the children's book, like they know. I mean, I've had a ton of sales, which is awesome, more than we ever imagined, but like getting people to write reviews is really, really difficult. Has anybody that's published a book found that? And I don't know if it's just because of I don't think it is though, because I've done other things as well for other people. I think it's really hard to like get whoever the audience is to do something. Like they just don't know. They don't know that leaving a review is going to sell more books and get the word out, and how much it will help. Right, leave a 5-star or leave whatever. I mean, any star review and write something. So it's just interesting. I'm wondering if anybody else has found anything with the live events, which we've talked about a little bit, and also like reviews or feedback or engagement, anything like that you guys have noticed.
I found it's really hard to get.
That's really cool. I'd love to capture branding.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Go ahead, Taylor.
I know that for me, personally, one guy, I was a part of his, one of his Facebook groups, Beyond the To-Do List, the guy, Eric Fisher. He runs that podcast, and he has this, like, productivity, like, Facebook group. And the incentive for leaving him a review, of course, he, like, posted why a review is important and all that, but the incentive was for these 2 days, I'm giving you my book for free if you leave me a review. So it was incentive for me because I definitely wanted to read his book, and the fact that I'd be getting it for free, like the least I could do for him was to give him a review, you know. So that's what motivated me personally to do a review for a book through social media.
And I did do that because through the Kindle app, right? Like I'm not going to give somebody a hardcover book because it just costs a lot of money to make, and we don't make any money off. You know, you don't make money off of books. I just want people to know about my brother's life. So yeah. I did put up, which you can do, which is a great tip for anybody who is putting out definitely do the electronic version as well, and then you can choose 5 days. I think it's 5 days a month or whatever. So every month I'll give it away for free and really push and be like, you can read it, now leave a review. And I did get a bunch. I mean, if you're going by ratio, I got most of the reviews when I did give away the book for free. But I just thought it was very interesting because it is a children's book, and because I know that almost everybody who's bought it or has got it sent, or I mean, I crowdfunded it. I mean, I got $2,000 from a crowdfunding I did last year to print the book, right? So it's already paid for. So I know that people are invested in it, but they just don't know. And even when I say to them, leave a review, so it's just like finding that crowd when it's not the business crowd who's trying to get stuff for their own. You know, there's that business savvy crowd that knows how to leave. That they should be leaving engagement because they want engagement, right? Like when you're going into another audience or target market, it baffles me on how you get to them, right? When you're not like Toys R Us or you're not Barnes and Noble, you're not.
This is really interesting, though, like the points that you make, and I feel like it can be a rolling conversation in our Facebook group after, like, in terms of giving you suggestions and stuff, because now I'm, like, kind of brainstorming, but, like, have you posted on, like, any, like, parenting-type blogs and stuff like that about the book?
No, I haven't, and that's actually really good. Yeah, I think let's roll it over into the other into the group. I'd be happy to take any suggestions. And that is a great one. I don't know why, and I have this disconnect, obviously, right, when it becomes between business. And I would have probably thought of that if it was for Moxie Moguls. I would have been like, oh, I need to go to this group, and this group, and engage and do that. But because this is out of that realm, I just didn't even think of that. Right, like guest blogging and getting in front of those people. Like, why would I? Yeah, sorry. We'll talk about it more in the group. Sign up for the group.
Yeah.
What about maybe doing some interviews? Like maybe asking people, because sometimes people don't have, like, they want to give the review, they liked the book, but then it falls to the bottom of their to-do list. But maybe saying, hey, can we get on the phone for 10 minutes? I just want to ask you a couple questions about the book. You could just record those and then maybe shoot them back to the person and say, write it up and then shoot it back and say, hey, here's what we talked about on our call. Could you post this as a review?
Oh,
so you're kind of doing the legwork. And I don't think it's, Jules, maybe you can speak to that. I don't think it's deceptive or anything, because it's what they're saying. You're just helping them get it done.
I think the biggest hurdle for a lot of people with testimonials or reviews is that they don't feel like they're a good writer, and they want to do you proud, right? Like they want to do good things for you, but they don't want to let you down. And then they get in like the struggle of, oh my God, I don't know how to write this. And it's not that big of a deal. Like the best review is 1 sentence long. The best review is brief. And so if you can get on the phone with somebody and just pick like the one nugget out of what they say, or even send them like 3 or 4 questions and just say, if you can, no, that would be too long, too much time. I would say get on the phone with them and see if you can get them to answer the one question, and then just shoot it back to them and use that. Yeah, they're still going to have to post it, so they're going to have to be, in agreement with their name being attached to it and everything.
I absolutely love those ideas, and I am totally phone phobic, but I guess I can get over that. My phone phobia for this cause, and it does make it easier, but that's a great, great idea. Thank you, guys.
Well, and I kind of equate getting like book reviews and stuff to commenting. And it's a micro percentage of the people who read it or that are actually going to interact with it. So it's just it's a numbers game, and I don't think when you're dealing with something like a book, there is a ton you can do to push that besides for the freebies and things like that. I think there's just a large segment of people who aren't going to take the time to do that. We're busy with life, so it's kind of hard.
And to build on that, I'd say start with the people who are most passionate about it then. Because, the people that are like the most excited about your brother's book, probably your family and people who know him or knew him. Start there and then have them, if they're comfortable, put that on their Facebook page or share it, or say, I just read this book, I love it.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because I actually just listened to a webinar about how to get like angel investor funding and venture funding, and the guy who's been in the industry forever said exactly that. He start with your inner circle, and then when you get 1 or 2 to buy in, go to the next level, and then when you get more from there, and then just keep sourcing it out, because you've already hit the people who are going to say yes, and then the next group's like, oh, you already have 2, yes. The next group's, oh, you already have 10, yes. It just keeps getting easier.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I guess it's very interesting, like right now, just listening to all this, because this is all stuff I would probably consult clients to do. Right? Like it's just like, oh yeah, no, I've told people to do that, and I have totally given that advice, and I'm just like, why? Like when it's just when it's inward, right? Where it's just like you just get dumb. I don't know. More
the cobbler's children has no shoes.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
All right, let's move on to Miss Taylor.
All right, so I've been actually reflecting on a phone call I had recently with a woman by the name of Sam Bennett. She runs a company called Organized Artists Company. She also does Organized Entrepreneur Company. But she's really, really brilliant. Basically, it helps creative types, those in the arts, be like a mesh more of business savvy and their artistry, and how to make the most of their time, basically. And she wrote this book called Get It Done, which was awesome. But when I was talking to her, one of the things that stuck out and that I've been reflecting on is just taking 15 minutes of your day every day to work on your craft, or I guess for me, my craft, or someone else, like for your project, even just 15 minutes could mean the difference. And it can be a variety of different things. So whether, like, I guess for me, it's like going to a show, or analyzing a script, or taking class, like anything that I can do and dedicate to my craft each day will get me one step closer, making phone calls, making connections. So I've just really been thinking of ways that I can do that, and just, you know, just making the most of the time that you have here, and going to bed at night feeling that sense of accomplishment, like I was working toward my goal today. I was working toward my dreams. I was working toward whatever I had set out to do, and I can go to bed at night because I'm exhausted from doing it. So yeah, I'm really testing that and processing it and trying to put it into action.
I love that. That's such a great point. I stumbled upon this journal in Paper Source this week while I was, out doing some shopping. I love Paper Source, obviously. And one of the prompts in the journal was, what would make today great? And it so struck me because I was thinking about my own day that day, and like we all have these to-do lists, and we have these lists of things that we have to do. But to like step aside and think like, okay, well, what could I do today to make today great? And I think it varies. Like some days it's going to be go take a bubble bath, or, it's going to be something like that. And for me, even though I had this list of to-dos, I was feeling really disorganized just with like kind of my business plan, and my office was disorganized. And I was like, what would make today great if I just got organized? And so it gave me kind of permission to set aside like my to-do list and do something that wasn't pertinent to that day, but helped me have a great day. And I think it's kind of the same thing, that like if we just instead of being so focused on what we have to do or what we're supposed to do, to take a little bit of time each day to focus on that thing that's really gonna make today great, honing your craft, and whether it's reading something inspirational, or whether it's going for a run, or putting on a new lip gloss, like whatever it is that's gonna make you have a great day.
Yeah, definitely. And like I've known that, but it's just different. It was, I guess, different hearing it from her, like even though and she's been there too. She was on Second City, she's done improv comedy and all that stuff, and just even though I have this huge goal that I've set before myself, even the tiniest thing will still get me there. So it's been really cool to think about.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. One thing that I kind of do that where I set aside, 15, 30 minutes every single day to focus on whatever I'm learning. And the way that I pick it out is I'm kind of like, okay, what do I want to learn about next? And I pick that topic, and then I either pick a book or a course or whatever it is, and then every morning when I wake up, I have my coffee, do a little bit of meditation, and then spend my 15 to 30 minutes where that is what I focus on. So it always happens first thing in the morning, but it's also kind of planned and structured, but it's not permanent, because once I'm done with that book or course, I pick the next thing. So I guess it would be kind of like, okay, let's say you want to improve one of your dance moves. Well, that's what you're going to work on for the next 2 weeks. And then you pick something else for the next couple weeks. Like, that's how I always approach that. But the key is it's never long. It's always 15, 30 minutes. That's it.
I love that. It's structured but not permanent. I would need both of those things to make it work, I think.
Well, that's my personality. I like structure, but I can only handle so much before I'm like, okay, I need something new here.
Yeah, the change is really, really important. And Sam Bennett, I've been getting her newsletter for about a year now, and she put on I almost went to it actually last year. I think she put on a live event in San Diego. You might want to, I don't know, check it out. She might do another one this year, but yeah, she was cool. She was an actress, and she's like kind of come into this realm, and so that's cool. And I also on this subject, like a gratitude journal. I don't know if anybody keeps one. I'm not disciplined enough to actually keep one, but to keep a steady one, I just got a cool journal app. I'll put it into the group. But I've heard a really successful, like uber successful, like was a founder of Twitter or something, like uber successful dude just say the other day, he was just like, he was having anxiety attacks, and then he just went to, he started to write down like what was really bugging him, like one thing that was really bugging him that day, and then the next sentence was like why he was grateful for it, which I thought was like such a like awesome spin. And like, and when I've been at my lowest, you know, when I lost my brother, I was just like, I came to a crossroads a couple of years later. I was just like, I can either get really grief-stricken and angry about this, or I can just choose why I'm grateful that I had, you know, 32 years of him in my life, right? Like, why am I grateful for this? Not so much that someone passes away, or that you're broke right now, or that, you know, you made a bad decision with too many cocktails or something like that. Not like that, but totally, you know, just, well, yeah, like that, and like why, like what did I learn from it? Why am I grateful for it? And I think like you could just get so much out of that. And I just got that tip, and I'm totally gonna use that, just because we're constantly learning. Like all of us are that type of person, right? Like eternal learners, right? We're always going to want to amp up. We're always going to want to have something new. But like to look inward and like dig down is really important to do too, and be like, what is really bugging me? Why is it bugging me? And why am I grateful for it? And like still drilling into your why, because you'll always be doing that, right? And it's just really important to get you to move forward. And there's no one pill, but I thought that was like a really great thing that I heard this week.
Yeah, finding the blessing and the curse, and yeah, definitely.
Well, that's a perfect transition into what I learned this week. So we'll hop on over to that. But first, I will say there's an amazing book out there called The Time Paradox. And it actually discusses everybody has like a different mindset to time. So there's future-oriented, present-oriented, past-oriented, and then there's variations on that. But one of the findings that they found through research is after 2 weeks of keeping a daily gratitude journal, you can actually change your time perspective. And specifically from like past negative can be changed to either past positive or future. So gratitude actually has an absolute scientific change on your mindset. And so what I do is I actually have my gratitude journal, we'll call it, in Evernote. One of the notes is gratitude. And so whenever I'm cranky, I pull it up and I write in it. But then I also always have it with me so I can scan back through the list of, okay, yeah, things are good, I'm good. And that way it's always with me. So my lesson for this week was when you're running a business, things don't always go the way you want. And when they don't go the way you want, it sucks. And you ask why you're doing this. But in reality, you just have to get yourself back on the horse, stick to the plan, and keep moving forward. So that was my big thing. And it's not like a big aha. It's one of those you have all the time when you have it. But this time it was more like, okay, what did I learn from this? All right, so this failed utterly and completely. What did I do wrong? Or what can I do different next time? Did I have the right target marketed? So I just evaluated, had some wine, a lot of wine, not quite as much as Taylor. And then the next morning, got up, got back on my schedule, and kept moving forward. So that was my lesson this week, just assess and move on.
Yeah, always keep moving. I mean, that's like huge. And then like knowing that the plan is going to change is really important. Along the way, like
yes,
nothing like the only thing that's permanent is like that nothing is permanent. And it sounds so cheesy, right? But it's just like we think we control so much, and we can't control outcomes, number one. And a lot of the plans, especially as entrepreneurs that you do, are to control outcomes that you have just have no control over that. So it's just really important to keep in mind to like always be moving forward, right? Like cry a little, drink your wine, you know, go in the shower with your bottle of vodka. No, just kidding.
Or my 10. We'll go there.
No, when it's in the like shower dispenser, that's bad. But like, but just like grieve about it, get over it, and then like know that the plan is always going to change. Like that's part of it. That's like business life 101, and it's really hard as perfectionist, control freak women to understand that, and especially when you go into business, because it's just like I think it's just like anything. It's like another life. It's just a huge undertaking, and you have to look over all these things, but it's like the trajectory, the path, all that stuff. It's going to curve. There are going to be different roads to go on, but like as long as you know what your purpose is there, it's going to be okay. And it's okay that things change a little bit, but be grateful for knowing when things aren't going the right way and change it. Like don't be afraid of that change, right? Like just keep on moving forward. So.
All right, so 2 funny things to say with that. Okay, first of all, total random, completely different side note. When I was in college, living in the dorms, we would clean out our shampoo bottles and store our vodka in the shampoo bottles. So, showering in vodka, already been there. Number 2 is, it goes back to, like, you have to listen to your own words, and I tell people all the time that you can set a personal budget for the month, and you can set your P&L for the month, and the second you finish those, they are going to be wrong, and you will need to change them. It just is the way it works. You cannot budget and then turn around and expect it to work perfectly for the next day, 2 days, month. It just, life and business changes.
It's the same thing with my clients with content strategy. You can set a strategy for the next 3 or 4 months, and as soon as it's done, like clockwork, it happens every time. It'll change. You'll get a new idea. Somebody new will ask you to do something that you hadn't thought of before, and having a good structure is good, and it's just a starting place. But anyway, I think it's true in every industry.
Yeah, I definitely believe it's all about and how you adapt and adjust, and how you react to that change. That's what makes you great.
And it's
nailed it, Taylor. That is so true. Like, it is not about what happens; it's about what happens after. So I think it's interesting and really smart of you, Andrea, to know that whatever it was didn't work, and you're on to something else, or maybe you're going to just do it and do it differently next time, or whatever.
Well, exactly, and that's what I was going to say. It's another cliche, but it's kind of the idea that there's no. I'm going to get it wrong when I say it here, but there's no negative experiences, or there's no bad experiences, only positive or negative ones, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that. Whatever. I don't know what I'm saying, but that even things that don't go right or the way we had planned or what we thought we still learn something from them. And that is also, so we do something in our business and it works, and we get feedback from that, and we're like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do again next time. And then we do something in our business and it doesn't work, and then we say, okay, well, then I'm not going to do this part again. Or maybe it was, and the hard part too is there's so many factors in our business. There's so many factors. It's hard to pinpoint, oh, well, this didn't work because I did this thing or because I didn't do this thing.
Well, and I think that's actually the hardest part, is a lot of times you don't know for sure what went wrong for months, if not years later. So like with mine, I did my little assessment, but I can't go, oh, that was the problem. But I am going to restructure and redo, and then maybe when that happens, I'll be able to say, okay, that was the problem. you know, but it is just kind of constantly playing with it. And as I say, it's about constantly playing with it. It's time for us to stop playing. It's 5:45 already. So that brings us to the end of our show, but don't forget, the conversation always continues over on Facebook, and somebody's going to have to help me if I do this wrong. You can get there with bit.ly no business, as in KNO, is that correct?
Yep.
Yep, all right. So join us there. Yep, so join us there after the show for more chatting, and if you could, we would absolutely love it if you join us next week and leave a rating and review over on iTunes. We will see you guys again.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.